Okay, so welcome to this week's People Link. First we're going to start with a reminder of our trust objective. So as an organisation, our objective is to provide the safest and kindest care in the NHS. So then we move on to our mission. So this is about understanding how, whether you're patient facing or not, how each and every one of us link in to supporting the trust to achieve their overall objective for our patients. So our two mission statements at the moment are that we ensure safe and effective use of medicines for all of our patients, and that we get the right medicine to the right patient at the right time. Now, if anyone's got any other ideas of what else do we want to put as a mission statement, then you can put them forward at any time, and we can add them to it. So that's what we're aiming to achieve every day. So then we move on to our team progress. So this is about whether we're actually achieving our mission. So firstly, we've got our effectiveness metrics. So if we look, we're looking at our medicines reconciliation rate. So we know that the sooner patients have medicines reconciliation undertaken, the safer it is for them, and the sooner we get that accurate drug history information for the clinicians. So our national target is that 100% of patients will have meds rec done within 24 hours of admission. But we know that the benchmarking data tells us that on average trusts achieve about 69% for all patients admitted on a weekday. So last week we achieved, or you achieved, 83% of patients had meds rec within 24 hours of admission for those admitted in the week, which is fantastic, well above the national average, so a really good metric. However, when we look at looking at across the full 7 days, so those patients admitted on a Saturday and a Sunday as well, we can see that the rate drops to 65%. And until the Trust is in a position to support our on-ward 7-day clinical pharmacy service plan, we're going to struggle to move that significantly. David has started working with the data analyst to look at the number of discharges seen before the discharge summary is written, and also the number of discharges needing no medication on the day of discharges. So he's got one metric so far. This is a result of the meds management team starting to record the memos on eScript about the number of discharges we're seeing. So we've got 78% of patients we saw on the ward, but the discharge summary hadn't been written yet. So that causes us a problem when we're doing the work, but actually the discharge summary isn't written, and then the doctors may change things at the last minute, and then we've got to rework. We haven't got a figure yet for the number of discharges needing no medication, but we know when we've looked at it in the past, about 50% of our discharges have all medication ready in the locker because of the work you've done previous to that on the day of discharge. So that's our effectiveness. The other thing that will be coming online is we're getting the tracker soon, so we'll be able to look at turnaround times for TTOs and urgent items, and the nurses will be able to view that, so that should be in the next couple of months. So then we look at our safety metrics. So we have had no complaints since November, which is great, and we've already shared the learning from that through the huddles and the People Link. We have had one dispensary error that went out. That gives us a rate of 0.03%, which again is below the national average, but actually one error is one error too many. So our target is always no errors. So in terms of what happened for this one, this was a patient who had a prescription for Prograf for 0.5 milligrams, and we dispensed the correct strength, but we labelled it incorrectly, so we labelled the wrong strength. So in terms of what the patient received, they received the right medication, but actually it was labelled incorrectly in terms of the strength it was on, and it was due to a picking error on our computer system. So the pharmacist was alerted when we went to do a repeat prescription for the patient as an owing, because we owed them some medication. They spotted what had happened, rang the patient, identified that yes, we had labelled it incorrectly, and then obviously apologised. The patient came back in for their owing and we relabelled it. So no harm done to the patient, it was all handled appropriately. The two individuals involved are doing some reflective statements, so as soon as we've got some learning from that, we'll share it with you. So then we go on to our workforce metrics. I'm only going to do these by exception. We've got our information governance rate has dropped to 84%. Now it usually runs well into the 90s, as you know, but we have seen a drop to 84%. I've emailed all the individuals who are out of range. Obviously everyone can see on here what stat training you need to do, when you're due, so we need people to keep an eye on it. So I have emailed everybody and they will be completing it. But if anyone's got any ideas, I mean, does anyone know why it might have dropped over the last month? Anyone struggling with keeping up with when you're meant to do it?
Just having time, wasn't it? To being, if it was on our rota, it was rotated in.
On your rostering? Okay. So now
Add
we've
it all
gone...
onto you,
Yeah.
and then it'll flash up to us to...
So now we've gone live
Yes.
with the rostering, we could add it on.
Just input in the date
Yeah.
too early.
It's just the time to
Yeah.
input. So then that'll alert people to know that when they've got the time to do the training.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Excellent idea, thank you. So the only other thing I wanted to mention on the metrics was the Legionella flushing. The ATO team are brilliant because they're maintaining 100% compliance in this. This is a result of a drop last year to kind of 40 to 60% and an ELI that we worked through with the team that resulted in now we're completing 100% compliance every month, which is fantastic. So then we move on to our improvement work. Mark, as one of our Lean for Leaders, is leading now on the 5S work in the department. So do you want to ask to update us?
Yes, just a quick update where we are really with the 5S methodology. So there's a chart that we've added to the board now. It says that we sort of 20% of our staff have had some sort of formal training now within the 5S methodology. Many more people in the department have had some influence in that and have been able to affect their own individual areas, but the formal training we're in 20%. Now the areas that we've sort of worked on quite well, we've been sort of the fridge area and the emergency boxes and the return areas, it's worked really well. And I think we'd all agree that it's sort of seen sort of time saving and reduced wastage in those areas, and particularly with the returns and the emergency boxes we've picked up on some sort of improved safety as well. But what we perhaps haven't been so good at is sort of the sweep and self-discipline side of it, which is where we haven't sort of reviewed or maintained some of that good work that we've done. So what I want to do in the sort of next 12 to 18 months really is make sure all technical staff receive some sort of formal training within the 5S methodology, and hopefully with that we'll be able to pick up on some of the areas that start to lapse a little bit, and these people might be able to work on sort of fresh projects within the department, but also to review and maintain some of the work that we've sort of previously done.
Excellent.
All okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Just keep an eye out for sort of some of the voters that will be coming up with those all.
Okay, brilliant. If anyone's got any ideas on where to 5S, we've got the suggestion sheet there. If you've got, it could be a room, a cupboard, a shelf, anywhere that you're kind of struggling to find things, or you're coming to something and the last form has gone and things like that. So once we get some more people on the training course, we can get some ideas on where to 5S next. The other improvement work is a Kaizen event that's happening at the end of March, which hopefully Claire is hoping. Excellent. So Kaizen event is a mini RPIW. It's a 3-day event, and they're focusing on TTOs. Claire is going to be on the away team as our representative for pharmacy, so thank you. So what I've done in advance is put up a new Rocks in Your Shoes board, specifically focusing on TTOs, and then so we want any ideas, whether it's things that are barriers within the department, or whether it's something that you feel maybe is out of your control, we need to have that on there. And then we've got an ELI board as well, so any suggestions around the issues that come up, please put them on, and then hopefully by the end of the month when Claire goes on the away team, there might be some suggestions and some things she can input into that event. You can use the ELI forms, but I know people find them a bit clunky, so if you want to just stick a post-it note up there, that's fine. Make sure you put your name on, because then we can go back to you and talk through your ideas and work with you if it's internal, that it might be something you can test out yourself. So we've added an item to the agenda, which is the staff improvement plan update. This is in relation to the CQC. So this is one of the ways in which the Trust will be letting you know about the 79 must-do action points from the CQC and what the action plan is that the Trust are implementing to address those actions, and how you can get involved in the improvement work. So it's just one of the ways that the Trust is going to start to engage with you and get you involved in actually improving the service for our patients through that CQC report. So watch that space, there'll be some more information coming through in the next couple of weeks. So that just leaves us our final bit on the agenda, which is our VIP, and the VIP of this week is Sarah Maury. This was a nomination by one of our senior techs, and this was some work she did this week because the emergency department recess fridge broke, which meant all the drugs in there were no longer fit for purpose for the patients. So Andy has written that Sarah was really keen to take the lead. She identified who the nurse in charge was and explained what we were planning. I was really impressed with her drug knowledge. She knew exactly what impact it would potentially have if the ED department didn't have the necessary drug stock for use. She explained what stock we were going to supply and what wards could be called upon for all other stock. Sarah had everything under control and communicated really well in a very busy environment. Really nice. So well done, Sarah. Okay, thank you everybody.
Thank you.